Hello everyone. Welcome back to the channel Talks with Dee. I remain yours truly, Mrs. Daughter Otu, welcoming you back to yet another interesting and exciting episode on this channel. Thank you so much for always being here. God bless you. And well done to everything that you are doing right. God bless you and bless the works of your hands. And I know that your tomorrow is definitely going to be better than your today. So keep hope alive. God honor you. So on today's episode, we want to examine a topic that is passionate to my heart. Very passionate indeed, because it's important we know what works for us. It's important for us to identify the important things in our lives and to give attention to such things. And today's episode is simply titled Mending Broken Wall. Mending Broken Wall. It's a pathway of rebuilding relationship, trust, and intimacy. We want to mend broken walls. Whatever it is that has been broken in your life over time, we are saying to us on this episode that it's possible for it to be mended, to be rebuilt. So all hope is not lost. Every relationship have downtimes, and relationship is like a wall, that protects us in our homes. And when those walls have broken down, we become vulnerable, we become exposed, and the enemy might have us as a prey. And whilst I was meditating on this episode, studying, I discover that a lot of people are waiting for your walls to be broken down. A lot of people are even happy that you are not able to build back your broken walls. And a lot of people are going to be angry by the time you start mending these broken walls. Because the truth be told, if you are not protected in your relationship, then you are so exposed to any and every attack. So on this episode, I want us to appreciate the fact that you cannot take away from relationships that there will be downtimes, okay? Two different individuals from different backgrounds, different origins, different cultural orientation coming together. You don't expect that there will be no friction from time to time. And what I've discovered over time, as a counselor and a relationship coach, I discovered that a lot of things that would have been dealt with initially, when they are left to linger on, create deeper wounds and deeper cuts, and it eventually becomes irresolvable. It becomes difficult to mend. So I advocate that problems are actually there for us to showcase who we are. When there are issues in the relationship, it's not for us to begin to look for who to blame, but how that we can come and deal with the issues and take it out of the way. Because I believe that before we go into a relationship, we should have a mindset of longevity. You are not just going into a relationship for a short term. So if you know that the journey is long, you will not be quick to say, I don't want to do again. These vows that we take, they are very important. We took those vows before God and men. And yes, people will tell you if it's not working, come out of it. You must not die there. What is it? Is it when you die, you go to heaven? All those, words are not very deep, because the truth be told, before you go into any relationship, you should even settle down to know what you want. What do you want? How far do you want to go with this relationship? And tell yourself the truth, that challenges are abound. You will definitely go through storms, obstacles, frustrations. That is a disappointment too. Because the other person might not deliver to you completely what you expect that person to deliver to you, because the person is a human being. Nobody have it all. So if we have that mindset before we go into a relationship, we will be prepared for the storms that will come, because they will definitely come. I'm not going to tell you that your relationship is going to be rosy all through. No, there will be arguments, and sometimes heated ones at that. And if your heart was not in the relationship properly, you will discover that you will just say, you know what, if this is the reason, I'm not doing it again. Where are you going to go to that? There will be no issue. There will be issue. But you have to make up your mind from the beginning. So that's why the Bible says that if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? So your foundation in your relationship is very important. You are not doing it for me. You are not doing it for anybody. You are doing it for yourself. What is the foundational stones that are holding your relationship? What is your belief system? What have you both agreed to walk by? What are your principles? What are your values? Have you made up your mind to say that this thing that I'm going into is till death do us part? And it's not as if I'm going to be there for you to kill me. You should know somebody a little bit now. And then before you go into that relationship. So what am I trying to say right now? That you have issues in your relationship does not mean that those issues cannot be resolved. That your relationship is not going the way you envisage it to go does not mean that it's a bad relationship. It only needs repair. Oh my God, have you seen a very worn out building that looks like nobody can, stay in it? And then someone comes and just, do a lot of, repair work. And before you know it, the building that looks as if nobody wants to get into it becomes like a star building on the street. That's how relationships are supposed to be. You're supposed to work on your relationship so that you can bring out the beauty that has been hidden in the ugliness. Yes. Sometimes relationships can be very ugly. And you know what? They don't get ugly by themselves. We make them ugly. The two parties in the relationship make the relationships ugly. So you have to take responsibility. I have to take responsibility to say that I have a role to play if this relationship must be mended. If our walls can be built up again. If we can rekindle our love again. If we must rekindle our love again, I have a part to play. You have a part to play. All right? So first and foremost, for you to be able to rebuild your walls, for you to be able to amend your walls in your relationship, one thing you have to acknowledge is that there is a crack in the foundation, and you and I must take responsibility. Because if you don't identify that there is a crack, if you don't identify that there is a crack in the relationship, you are living in self-deceit. And you can only deceive yourself. Is this relationship working? Is it serving what it's supposed to serve? In fact, when you listen to some people say, is it giving what it's supposed to give? Is it giving what it's supposed to give? Is the relationship offering you what it is supposed to offer? If not, then acknowledge the fact that it's not working. And why is it not working? Take responsibility. So the first pathway to mending broken walls in our relationship, rebuilding our relationship, our trust, and our intimacy in our relationship is for us to acknowledge that there is a crack in the foundation. And the Bible says, if the foundation be destroyed, what can the righteous do? So go back to the drawing board with your spouse, with your friend, with your relative, with whoever it is that is in relationship with you, to say, can we sit down? You see, that is when you begin to sit down. After that, you have acknowledged it, you have taken responsibility. The second thing is for you to sit down and communicate openly and honestly about the things that are happening in your relationship and thinking of what you can do. Honestly talking about the situation on ground. That's the second thing you do. After that, you have acknowledged that there is a crack in the foundation in your relationship. The second thing you do is for you to sit down, communicate openly and honestly about the causes of that crack. Where is this issue coming from? The root cause. That's what I'm talking about here. You have to sit down and say, what is the root cause of this situation? In that circumstance, in that situation is when you begin to take responsibility fully. Because you see, everyone has somewhere to mend if the wall must be built up again. If the wall of our relationship must be built up again, must be mended up again, you and I must take responsibility. See where you fit in, because you must come with a building block, you see. The walls are broken down. So it's not just one party bringing a building block or doing something to build. No, everybody's hands must be on deck. That is when you tell yourself the truth. I'm sure it's the way I handled this issue. That's why the thing went this way. It's the way I spoke perhaps that did not make it right. It's the things I do perhaps that is making my partner angry. You see, at that moment you are taking responsibility. You are picking up a block to change your thinking. When you take responsibility in that situation, you want to change your thinking. You want to change your lifestyle. You want to change your perception. You just want to do things differently going forward. Because if you claim, I am right, I don't know what I did, you are deceiving yourself. The walls cannot be built up by themselves. They have to be built up by you and the person in relationship with you. So this is not the time to say, I don't know what I did though. It's not my fault. It's always finding fault. She's always finding fault. Nothing I do is good enough. No. There must be something that you must have done even without knowing, that your partner did not communicate to you, that has caused that crack. Because this crack happens gradually until it becomes very, very wide. And if you are not careful, it's very difficult to bring it back together. Because if you allow a lot of enmity, a lot of bitterness, a lot of anger, a lot of wrong words to go through that season of disagreement, to come back is difficult. Because the words that you have spoken against yourself is just like, oh, how can we get over this emotion? Okay, so I recommend that even as the situation is arising, please see where you can make amends. When we are mending the wall, meaning that you are mending, I'm mending. And you know what? It is commitment that will make us to do that. So number 3, after that you have decided to make amends because you have identified the root causes of the problem, you have to be committed to sorting that problem out. Listen, if 2 people shall agree, nothing shall be impossible for them. In that relationship, if only you can agree, there is nothing you cannot handle. It's the truth. It has nothing to do with your friends or your relatives or your acquaintances. No, it has to do with the 2 people in that relationship, be it friendship, be it marital, any kind of relationship. If 2 of you can agree, you are committed to saving that relationship, it can be saved though. Because you are the one that will forgive. You are the one that will forfeit whatever it is. You are the one that will make the compromise. And listen to me, for you to salvage a good, healthy relationship that has, faced some storms, that have crumbled, it will take time. It will take effort. And it will take your willingness to be vulnerable. You cannot stand on a high place and expect it to work. No, you have to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to be vulnerable. What you know, just think you don't know it. If your too much wisdom is causing wahala, then come down now to the level of the person in relationship with you. Not true now. Just for you to have peace. And the person will learn. Some people learn in different ways. So many people learn in different ways. It's not when you shout and say, this is what you're supposed to do, that they learn. Sometimes, even when you're quiet, they are learning. They say, he did not want to talk. He did not want to talk, but I know what the person expects of me. Let me prove the person right that I'm learning. Instead of you to say, don't you know what to do? Sometimes you just calm down. You just a little bit so that the other person can ride on. So it is important that we are committed to making sure that those walls are built up. If we are not committed, nothing will change. That's the truth. Remember the first thing we said? You have to acknowledge that there is a crack in the foundation and take responsibility. Number 2, you have to identify the root causes of those cracks, those disagreements that have brought down your wall. Number 3, you have to be committed to making sure that you provide solution to those issues by taking responsibility to say, I cannot let this relationship die in my hands. God forbid it that I failed at this relationship. And then number 4 is bringing up some action plans. What do I do differently? What can I do differently? You have to strategize to begin to see what you can do differently. You have to develop an action plan. You have to systematically repair your relationship. What does that take? Systematically repair the damage in the relationship, number 1, by consciously repairing your trust and emotional intimacy brick by brick. Building your trust and emotional intimacy brick by brick. You will build it brick by brick. Even your communication skills, you will begin to improve on it. You will learn how to listen to one another. I am telling you the truth. The pathway to resolving any issue in every relationship is communication. Because if you don't talk and I don't talk, how can we understand what is happening that we don't like? I am not in your mind, you are not in my mind. So it's important that we communicate. We speak to one another concerning what we do not like and what we can do differently. Everybody carry your brick. We want to mend this wall. Carry your brick, I carry my brick. Brick by brick. Let's do it differently. Let's see ourselves differently. We are not in competition. We are not at war. Come on. We are here to build a relationship that will be a blessing to us and to people that will even see us. So we cannot fail the expectations of the right people in our lives to making our relationships work. But there is one thing I want you to know. If you don't know it, I will tell you now. A lot of people are waiting to see your relationship fail, and you are not aware of it. A lot of people are happy that you are having issue in that relationship. You are not aware of it. A lot of people that are coming to tell you things about your partner or the people in relationship with you, so that there will be misunderstanding. They are actually not happy that your relationship is doing well. They don't like the laughter that come out of your house. They don't like the way you hug yourselves. They don't like the way you cooperate in your family. They are there to bring down your walls, and you are not careful. Try rebuilding those walls, then you begin to see them come out. Try rebuilding those walls. They will begin to tell you, why are you bothering? I thought you are done with that relationship. Why are you worrying? You don't know who you are going back to. Why should you go back? Move forward. Leave it alone. You see that they are happy that your walls have broken down. I am telling you to please jealously guard the wall of your relationship. Do not allow your relationship to be free for all. Guard it. Sometimes suffer small injustice. It's not injustice, so make some compromise. Sometimes swallow your pride. Yes. Abba, it's not every time that you must win an argument now. It's not everything that you know best now. Sometimes even when you know, behave as if you don't know. Give credit to the other person. Because unknown to you, a lot of people are waiting for that relationship of yours to fail. And when it fails, you become exposed. You become vulnerable. You know what happened to the walls of Jerusalem? They were broken down and burnt. And the enemies of God's people were happy that those walls are broken down. When they went back to rebuild, what happened? They stood up against them. Can you imagine? The Israelites did not know that those walls were your pride. They didn't know that those walls stand there as a source of protection, an identity for them. Your marriage is your identity. Your relationship is your identity. And if it is broken down, you have nothing. People laugh at you. When they see, they say, it doesn't matter, you don't mind that person. It's a lie. They are making mockery of you. When the walls of Jerusalem were broken down, the enemies of God's people were rejoicing. And what made those walls to be broken down? Because the children of Israel left their first love. They forgot the God that gave them that land. Most relationships break down because they forget to honor their vows. Yes. They started making it in relationship. They forgot God. Have you forgotten God in your relationship? Perhaps that's why your wall came down. Yes. That's why that little argument escalated. I'm telling you. Have you forgotten God in that relationship since that breakthrough came? Oh, since that new job came, how have you been doing with God? Oh, since that promotion came, how have you been doing? Since you changed accommodation, how have you been doing? Have you been praying with your spouse? Have you been believing God? So what have you been doing with your Creator? The one that gave you that relationship as a gift in the first place. Because every good and perfect gift, they come from God. Be it relationship or material things. Anything that is good came from God. The children of Israel forgot the person, the God that settled them in that land. And when they went after other gods, their walls were broken. So that's what I'm saying in conclusion. Perhaps what made your walls in your relationship to break down is because you forgot your source. Can you return back to God? Because except that I lead you back there, I've failed in this episode. Except that I point you back to the one that is able to bring you back together, I have failed. Because what I say will not change anything, but what He ministers through your spirit will. That situation can change. Don't listen to anybody that says it's irredeemable. No, it's not irredeemable. It can be redeemed. That relationship can be redeemed. If you go back to your source. It's not the one that you prayed to when you were going into that marriage. When you are making that plan, sure you prayed. How come you forgot Him all of a sudden? How come you cannot solve your matter? How come you cannot listen to Him anymore? How come His counsel cannot work anymore? How come He cannot deliver you anymore? He has been your God through ages past. He is still your God now. Please return back to Him. Because when the children of Israel returned back to God and they cried unto God, God strengthened them. And they rebuilt back the wall of Jerusalem. And you know what they did? They did it by section, by family. Everybody was involved. That's what I'm saying. If your relationship has to be built back, has to be renewed, has to be mended, please take responsibility. When you sit down to talk, don't trade blames. Tell yourself, this is what I can do better. I'm better than this. I will do this. And when you take responsibility, everybody with his brick, everybody with his stone, everybody with his block, everybody with one tool or the other to build that relationship. I can tell you nothing can stop it. It will be rebuilt and better too. So I encourage you, it's not over yet. That relationship is not over yet. We can still build it back. Just calm down, prayerfully, and just tell God, Lord, help me. I want my marriage, I want my relationship to be built back, to be mended back. Help me, Lord. And you know what? God will help you because He hears you and He answers your prayers too. So that's all I have for us on this episode. I really hope and wish that something would have entered into your spirit to know that your walls can still be built back. So it's not over yet. Don't throw away the baby and the bathwater. There's still hope. It can still be restored. So I tell you, you are going to experience restoration all the way. Don't give up. God bless you. So this is all I have for us on this episode. And I know that God has really touched your hearts. Yeah, this is me saying, thank you so much for always being here. Please do like this video, share this video, and also subscribe to this channel so we continue to spread this good news through these videos and be a blessing to as many that will come across them. So God bless you. Until I come your way again. Bye. Thank you so much. God bless you.